Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Shut to Shut are coming back to you with a brand new episode of Project Architect 2. And today, I actually have a finalized plutonium pellet setup. And the reason I have this, and I did not show this, is because we're going to do basically the exact same thing with polonium, right? So I was like, you know what, let's just skip ahead. The exact same process will be done over on this reactor. But I do want to talk about this because I have not set it up on the other reactor. And let's go actually do this on camera. A lot of this is just going to be repetition, right? So that's why I'm not showing a whole lot of some of this stuff, right? The whole water thing up here. This is actually functioning at 90 millibuckets a tick right now with how much water is being pumped in. This is actually sustainable. And I've also got 4 outputs for coolant that is actually being trashed in the ultimate trash can. So let's grab some more redstone cards here real quick before I get distracted again. And we will put the port on this side. One thing I actually messed up on with this one is I should have put this on the other side because these 4 chunks here were loaded, not this one. So I actually had to go ahead and load this chunk because, yeah, I goofed. Oh well, it happens. This one I'm going to do correctly, though. So 1, 2, and then we're going to put the logic port there and all of this fun stuff. So on the west direction, this is going to be input, channel 0. This is going to be west direction, channel 1, and west. Let's do that one first, and then channel 1. And we're, of course, going to make sure that we do output strong. Oop, I did not mean to do that one. I meant this one, output strong. So this will be activation. We're going to do inverted. And then here, we're going to do high temperature. And then here, we're going to do insufficient fuel. All right, I think that should be how I did it over here. Round about the same way. Yep, normal and normal. So I should actually just change these to normal just in case. All right, but that is that completed. Now, let's just activate this thing real quick. So this is actually not set to anything normally. We're going to set this to 90. Everything should function. Everything should start generating. You see nuclear waste is being populated, which is exactly what we want to see, okay? So what we want to actually go grab is the radioactive waste barrels. I'm actually going to grab a handful of these. I really only need one right now, but just in case I need some in the future, we will have some. So we're going to put this guy right here. And we're not going to pipe out. We're actually going to scram this for a second so we don't fill up too much on nuclear waste. We need a Solar Neutron Activator. This is for polonium specifically. And it looks like actually we can't do this until we get HDPE. Well, we are going to have to stop for a second. I actually did not see that coming. I kind of forget that that's required specifically for the Solar Neutron Activator. So we're going to have to go through the stages of getting substrate and liquid ethylene. I think, is it just liquid ethylene? Well, actually, it seems like you can do water and ethylene to get this. But you do need liquid ethylene to get the other portion. So you can, like, duplicate substrate, but you can't do a whole lot else. So we'll just need to get liquid ethylene, which is pressurized reaction chamber with water and hydrogen, and biofuel or biomass. If we can get biomass, we can skip a stage. So let's go for biomass from create. This is seed oil, and that is compacting some sort of type of seed. Okay, so let's just go home. Oop, it's because I was moving. Hey, quick interjection here. If you guys are enjoying the video, it'd be greatly appreciated if you leave a like and or subscribe, or even comment. Advice, feedback, questions, I would love to see it all. Alright, let's get back into the video. Okay, so we need... let the world generate. I haven't actually been in here since I loaded the world, so it's going to take a little bit. Okay. I guess we don't really have a space for this, right? We just have that. So let's grab a basin. Not that basin, this basin. So we want this one, this one. We need a compact. What is the thing called? Create. Mechanical press. And we also need a mechanical mixer. And then we need a blaze burner. Okay. So we'll call this one the blaze burner. And mixer. Okay. And we'll do cog. And we'll do electric motor. I should have a handful left. Okay, we want to shift. There we go. And then flux point. We'll just grab one from our system. And we'll speed this bad boy up just a little bit. Okay. So that completes that part. And then we're going to do the exact same thing, except for this one can just have the electric motor placed on it. So electric motor. Flux point. So just like that. There we go. Yeah. Did I just do that for 240, 253? There we go. All right. So then we just need some type of seed. Okay. We'll just let this fill up. And then you can grab a fluid pipe. Okay, I'm going to take the seeds out of there so that stops. All right. And then we just need... We could do sticks. We can do flowers. Okay. We'll go for poppies. Nope, nope, not. I got to throw it in there, right? I can't just drop it. Nope, that is not doing what I was hoping. Okay, what else? Drip leaf. Nope. Moss. I have to have something in here that this will work with. Hello? Seed oil. Oh. Coal. Okay. That's all I need. I just needed one. So we have the moss. Or the biomass. Okay. We can EMC this one. So that should be all we needed. Perfect. Now, let's go back to the mechanism area. Okay, so let's set this... I guess we can set it right here. I don't think that'll be a problem. These are just here so I know that stuff's actually functioning. So let's go for... What is that? Biogenerator? Oh, cool. We got some copper spool with festive lights. Interesting. All right, so let's bookmark this recipe. So we need a pressurized reaction chamber. So pressurized... If I can type. We will go with 4 of these guys. So after substrate, yeah, so we'll do 2 for this and then 2 for this. So this, we'll put like right here. So we're going to want EMC link. Let's just do EMC link like Mark 5. Just so that way we send out enough. Okay. And then let's just make sure input on the right, and then input left for items. Not trying to pick that up. I was trying to type. And we'll just do that. Okay. This should be a little bit slow to get this going. So let's just do round robin to make sure that, equalizes. And then we need hydrogen and water. Okay, so let's grab a couple porters. Actually, I guess we only need 1 porter, right? We need the one for oxygen. Did I say that right? Was it oxygen? No, hydrogen. Hydrogen. And actually, we're going to put this guy down 1. And we're going to grab the sink. And the reason I'm putting these down one is because we actually kind of have an issue with pipes. Universal pipes, to be specific. I haven't seen it happen yet with the other kinds of pipes. Okay, can I place... There we go. I haven't seen it happen with the other kind of pipes yet, but the advanced pipe upgrades that I put in here, or ultimate, they actually popped out when I had these on the same block as something that was being inputted. So we're going to try and avoid that by just doing what I'm doing here. Putting these guys down one or over one. I have that actually right here. See how these guys are set? And they haven't popped off. I actually recently just logged back into the world before starting this episode. So that actually works. And I do actually have one example over here that this may have popped. So that didn't pop. That didn't pop. And I'm more looking at the top, by the way, at the information up there saying advanced pipe upgrade. So that is actually working, which is beautiful. So we'll just keep the ultimate pipes like that, because I really don't want this to break on us. All right. And then we just need to make sure for gases that this is output. And then we're going to grab some upgrades from mechanism. And we have not supplied power to these guys yet either. So let's grab the point. 2 of these guys. We'll just set one here, one here. Mech area power. Mech area power. Okay. And that is ethylene and the substrate. So let's grow for a chemical, ultimate chemical tank. Make sure we disable that. And grab some tubes. We're on wrench, apparently. Let's set this to gases. Output, output. Perfect. Oh, we're actually already there. Perfect. And then a functional storage drawer. And then item pipe here. Item pipe here. Let's switch this over to items. Oop. Is items like the last one? Honestly, I didn't know it. I thought that was the first one. Okay. So there is substrate being moved out. And then, of course, substrate we're going to immediately want to use to get HDPE. So we then need to get rotary... Is it the rotary condensators for this? Is that what we're looking for? Yes. So 2 of these guys, please. And do we want to do a porter, or do we just want to send this up? And everything else is using entangle porters. So I'm kind of thinking... let's just put these guys here. And we'll just run... just like that. Just run it to the bottom. Dang it, I'm on wrench. Okay, extract. And I'm going to just turn this one off. That way we have a buffer. And then... cable. This may be the sloppiest one I put in this area. But that's okay. Alright, and upgrades. Muffle first. And then everything else. Okay. So that is getting us liquid ethylene. So with liquids, I'm actually trying to use the fluid cells from Thermal Series. That actually seems to be working the best for fluids in general, just because I don't have a bigger tank. We do have the tanks from Mechanism. But actually, I may be wrong now. Tank. The ultimate. So this one is 256,000. This tank is 46 million. So 46,000 buckets. While this one would be 256 buckets. So yeah, I will go grab that thermal tank, the thermal fluid, and I actually haven't auto-crafted this, so let's just do that real quick. And I also, of course, can go enchant this, and that's what I did for the previous one. So that actually really does help, being able to just say, hey, autocraft. Autocraft, autocraft. Did I accidentally do hardened glass? Okay, yes, hardened glass is needed. So let me grab that. I'll be right back. So we have the cell. We're just going to quickly grab... I forgot to make this. I've been making the expanded tank construction. So by default, this is 160 millibuckets. We increased that using the stellar integral components and expanded tank construction. So technically, yes, the mechanism by default is better, but with the enchantment that we put on here, which I believe is holding 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, I do believe. So that definitely boosts this just a lot. So there we go, there we go. And of course, we'll just bump this up, you know, by a little bit. Of course, I don't need to go too much because this doesn't really need to be outputting extreme or inputting an extreme amount. All right, so output, auto reject on. This thing should be getting liquid ethylene. This guy should be... There we go. And that should be making our ethylene supply go just completely gone, but that's okay. And we're going to work on putting the next set of machines, which is the pressurized reaction chamber, I think, again. Yes, pressurized reaction chamber. Pressurized reaction chambers. We'll put that guy here, and we will just run cable up and over. Slap our upgrades in here. And then we do need to do some kind of fluid transportation. Okay, and then we just do output here. And that should be good for liquid ethylene. And then we just need what next? Oxygen. So the porter probably will be what we need. I think I set up a porter for oxygen. I know whenever we did the fossil fuel first, we did not actually do that. So we should be golden here. So let's do oxygen. I guess I did. Because OX should be oxygen, right? Yes, it is. Okay. And I guess, really, we don't need to put this down that far. Because this is just a single gas. So let's do gases. Let's do output. There we go. And those guys should fill up. And then the only piece that we need now, right here. Everything's kind of centralized, which is actually not really intentional. But I'll say it's intentional. So input on the left. Oh, you've already got stuff. Okay, perfect. And then functional storage. We'll just put this guy back down here. And I also probably should lock this drawer. So we're just going to do items, output, items, output. I'm going to grab a couple more pipe upgrades while we're at it too. Okay. So that is the HDPE pellets. And I'm not going to do like an automatic system for this just yet. I'm actually just going to take out a handful of this. And I'm actually just going to make the HDPE sheet recipe. And then if I run out, I'll run down here and grab some. Just because right now I don't feel like having to worry about anything else. Enrichment. So that should be Solar Neutron Activator craftable. 4 of them. Perfect. Okay. Well, but that is HDPE Pellets automated, and honestly, I kind of like how we did this. Yes, I could probably simplify this by doing flux points and getting rid of some of these cables, but I think this is actually really well done. Especially because I've not really done this up and down, right? I've always done it like left or right. Or I've done it horizontally rather than vertically, I think is what I'm trying to say. So that is fantastic. Okay. So with the Solar Neutron Activators, this is actually one of the biggest reasons that we decided to make this dimension, right? We wanted to be able to go into a dimension that's permanently day. And this should be permanently day, which is going to be beautiful. All right. So let's grab some cables. Let's grab some pipes, or tubes, not pipes. So we are going to do the output for this, which you have to do from the top or bottom of the radioactive waste barrel. And the top's going to be used by that, so we can't really do this. And the reason we're not sending anything through this yet, of course, is because we can radiate the entire area if nuclear waste or polonium or plutonium or spent nuclear waste was destroyed. Even if you wrench it, it will radiate the entire area for hours. Real world time, not in game. So be careful. That's why I'm being careful so much compared to Craftoria, because I think I willy-nilly it, and I did radiate the area a couple times, which, you know, delayed recording quite a lot. Also, these guys don't need power because they're solar. I forgot about that, but that's okay. All right. That actually allows for us to do some stuff just a little bit better than what we did on the other side. So let's just do output of gases on the bottom. And, of course, input on the front. We don't need the item slot. So I need to just configure this properly. Hold on. So let's grab our configurator, our configuration card thing. So let's configure this one properly. So gases, input, bottom is output. Copy, copy. And then clear this side, clear this, input, output. I guess I actually had that one right. But that should be fine. And then we are going to want to do this, disconnect here, disconnect there, and we're going to want to probably say none on that, and none on this. And we're going to run this into the radioactive waste barrel. So this is another buffer. This will be for polonium, right? And the one thing is with polonium and plutonium, polonium cannot decay inside these barrels. Will not decay inside of radioactive waste barrels. Very, very good stuff. Okay. So the next portion of this is actually going to be the exact same as over here, just with a little bit less cable shenanigans. As you can see, this is how we did the output for the isotopic centrifuge, because we had power on the bottom of these. So we don't have that here, so we're able to kind of compact this just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. All right, so we need the pressurized reaction chamber. Let me actually just clear this here. So polonium, we have the pellets over here, and this is what we're looking for, because we need to make polonium, which is what this is going to be doing, right? Solar Neutron Activator, nuclear waste, polonium, and then that will be converting, right, across. So water, polonium, fluorite, dust. So pressurized reaction chamber. Reaction chamber. We'll grab 4 of these guys. The one here, and we're going to have to do the cables a little funny, because, of course, input, output, bottom and top. And then we're just going to make sure that the gases are input on both machines. And then we're going to want to set water. How did I do water over here? I just set it on top. And we're going to need power, so I guess we'll set the sink in the center here. And we'll just do mechanical pipe. And we'll make sure fluids is input on both. Perfect, it is. And then we're also going to need to figure out power real quick, because these machines do require power. unlike the Solar Neutron Activators. Let's grab some points. One there, one there. Okay. And then the output for the thing will be Polonium Pellets. We do need ender drawers. Hence why this card is still linked. Because this is our fluorite dust. I set that up, of course, down in that bottom area. I'll actually show it to you here in a second once we get these placed down, because I don't think I showed it previously. I kind of went down there and didn't mention anything, so we'll go down there and just show it. So there's that, and there's that. And we just need to make sure these are set to input for items. So input, input. Okay. And then apparently fluid. Oh no, the polonium's not in here, of course, because the machines are not on. Perfect. So let's also quickly worry about upgrades. And I think the only upgrade that this can take is a muffling upgrade. No, actually it can't take any. Okay. Well, I hope it doesn't make too much noise. I don't remember, actually. So we shall see, I guess. But that is completed for that. And then we just now need to move the polonium pellets and also the spent nuclear waste back into this, right? This is how we were using this. Yep. So that's why we have another set. Okay. So how did we do that here? We did that with entangled blocks. Entangled blocks, huh? So we'll knock out the block there, knock out the block there. Let's get the pressurized reaction chambers. Okay. Entangled. And So the one thing is, of course, we're going to have to make sure that we set this to be side specific. Because that's the reason I don't really care for entangled blocks when messing with mechanism. Or any machines that are side specific. So we're going to have to say... Ooh, actually, how do we want to do this? Because this isn't going to work. Because we need to output fluids, or output gases, but we're inputting on the top this time. So we're going to have to, like, reverse this. So let's do input, and then output bottom. Just kind of switch things up a little bit. We're going to have to do it that way. So same thing here. So we'll just clear the gas sides, input top, output bottom. And that should work. Hopefully. Yeah. Perfect. A little bit different. But you got to think about these things, because it will not work if I did it the other way. All right. So that beats that. And then I've got a porter for liquid uranium oxide, which is actually a crafting ingredient for this. Because remember, we're duplicating polonium now. We've completed the polonium step. We are now duplicating polonium pellets, which will then give us nuclear waste, but we need liquid uranium oxide and spent nuclear waste, plus the polonium pellet to actually get us this. So let's get that going. So mechanical pipe. And then liquid uranium oxide, which is at the bottom here. And let's make sure energy's turned off. I probably have energy in it already. I do. Perfect. I accidentally forget about that every time. So output top. So that is the uranium oxide, the spent nuclear waste. And we just now need to get the pellets. And I think I did that. Yeah. Ooh, how did I... Trying to think. I might move this how I have it on the other spot. So let's change this up to how I did it over there, because that makes more sense. So functional storage drawer. And item pipes. So we're going to do this. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm actually setting these guys as outputs. And then this centerpiece will be the input. Does that make sense? So polonium pellets come out of here, go in here. Polonium pellets then get pulled out, get duplicated, get sent back in. Repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. That's exactly what we're doing here. Okay. And that's what I kind of forgot to think about whenever I first started with the liquid uranium on the bottom. What did I just knock out? What did I just knock out? Oh, this right here. Okay. Turn this off wrench, because I keep forgetting every time I change it. Let's change this to fluids. Let's do output. Same thing here. Output. Hopefully I didn't just mess something up. It does not look like I did. Okay. And I apologize for kind of being everywhere. This design over here worked really well, so I'm trying to keep as close as possible. So I apologize. Usually I don't copy one-to-one, but I hope I'm explaining this well enough as well for what I'm doing here, because yeah, this is a whole new thing that I think that was added by the, Modpack authors. So, I want to get it right. So the next portion is getting the nuclear waste back into the first barrel. And also, we could just be looking through JEI to replicate this, by the way, because nuclear waste comes out of this, and the nuclear waste just needs to be sent all the way back to the very beginning. So we're going to grab 2 entangled blocks, one here, and we're going to take this, and since this is the top side of the block, this will work perfectly. So just like this. And then also we can switch to gases. Make sure that's output. Make sure that's output. And that should work. Of course, we'll launch this here in a second. And we'll see if I failed anywhere. Okay. So let's do this. Make sure this is not on wrench. And also we need to change this to output waste. Okay, so that did work, but we did not output items. So output. So that should now be in here. Should be functioning. Should be duplicating. Did I miss the upgrades in this one? Oh, I have 2 sets of muffling. That's why. I was like, what is it? Why is it being so slow? Okay. So that should be just circulating. One is not spitting out items. Why are you not spitting out your items? I thought I just looked at that. Maybe I was wrong? Maybe I was on the wrong thing. Not sure. But that looks like it's cycled. It looks like it has ran out of nuclear waste as much as it can be. So let's turn this guy on. We got fissile fuel. We've got that. This is at 90. So that should be constantly making polonium. Once you hit 1,000 millibuckets of polonium, it should make the polonium pellet. Then should send out here. And these guys are going to just repeat and repeat and repeat with all the spent nuclear waste that they have. And then that halves the nuclear waste each time, from what I'm seeing, is you require 2,000 spent nuclear waste. Actually, it's over half, because you only get a 500 millibucket return, so you're getting, what is that, like a quarter? A quarter, I think? Right? Maybe? Right about there? Math is difficult. But yeah, so we should be overall getting tons and tons of these, because once these guys fill up, then of course this drawer will start filling up, just like how it is over here, which I actually don't even know how many we have over here. So we have 804. So that is beautiful. So we are getting tons and tons of polonium, getting tons and tons of plutonium, and this is cruising. So let's go quickly talk about the systems downstairs, and then we'll wrap up the episode here. So the fluorite dust, of course, crushing factories with fluorite. Nothing to write home about. The Ender drawer stores 8.2K on stackable items. I actually did not know that. You know, pretty cool thing. And then, of course, we just have that frequency all the way over there. And then this system is just uranium oxide being converted over into uranium, or liquid uranium oxide. And we should still have... Actually, we don't have a buffer any longer. I think this has wiped it out. So that may be a problem that we need to look into. But I think fissile fuel's still holding strong. Yeah, we're still pretty well off. Looks like some of these are being used up a little bit. But yeah, so this whole room pretty full now. But I think that should be basically everything we need at the end of the day, right? As long as we don't run out of fissile fuel and we don't run out of water, we're going to be getting plutonium and polonium pellets indefinitely. And then I will work on this guy off camera, get polonium. Is it polonium? Polonium's the one I need, right? For the SBS? Yes, for antimatter. So this is the next step, is getting enough polonium into here to get antimatter. And then from antimatter, that should be where we start getting fading matter. So we need 5 millibuckets of antimatter to get our first fading matter. And then from there, that is off to the races to get everything else that lines up with this. It looks like the fading matter block might be the step. Yes, to start getting some of this other stuff. The final shard requires fading matter block, transmutation tablet, TNT, final star shard, and then that is some of the stuff that we can get. So it looks like we got the infinity pipe upgrade, but this requires a magnum star omega. I guess I might look at making that stuff off camera, because that's just a whole lot of crafting to get those. Max storage upgrade, so nothing that's like infinity, right? Ooh, we got like 80% cheaper teleportation, 100 blocks, teleport anywhere using EMC. That's interesting. I see a colossal star omega. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of these things, and yeah, that's quadrillion. Holy cow. Okay. And you need a colossal star omega to make the final star. The final star shard, white matter block, white fuel block, liquid hyper experience. And so we'll have to look at how to get that. But that's 6 times over. So you'll need 6 final star shards, 6 white matter blocks, 6 white fuel blocks, 6, no, that's 3 buckets of liquid hyper experience. Okay. All right. Well, that is interesting. We are getting somewhere, right? We are getting close to getting the antimatter. This is probably the fastest I've ever done it, you know, kind of like 3-4 episodes, because I am just kind of speeding along. But thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.